Hi, I'm Tracy with Acropolis Technology Group, and today I'm going to talk about what managed IT services cost in St. Louis, Missouri. So for us specifically, there are many things that go into cost, and I would love to give you an exact dollar amount, but I'm going to tell you in St. Louis, the range varies from about $50 a user per month to about $180, $190 per user per month. Obviously, that's a very, very wide range, and there are a lot of things that go in that make up that range. And one of the things I'm going to do today is discuss some of those things and help give you the information so you can figure out about where your company would fall. So one thing we hear a lot from our prospects and clients is it's very frustrating. Buying IT services is frustrating. I'm probably not qualified to buy what it is that you do for a living, and a lot of people that we run into really don't know a lot about IT, and that's okay. But it's very frustrating because we all look alike. We all have very similar web pages that say we do very, very similar things. And I can see where that could be confusing. No one talks about price and what makes up price, and I'm doing that here today. And I'm going to do my best to alleviate that frustration so that you can have some ideas to what that means. We serve companies of nearly every industry, and although some of you share some of the same problems, you're all a little different. And if you ask people around the office, they would probably say some of you are very, very, very different. We get to run into some very unique businesses and very unique business models. So from that standpoint, it's very interesting, but there are some things that you can directly control, which I'm going to talk about now. First and foremost, it's number of users and number of devices. So when you come to a company like us, one of the first questions you're going to be asked is how much we're going to try to get a handle on how much we actually have to support. You've heard the saying, more money, more problems. In this case, more users, more money. And the reason that is first and foremost, all of your users need licenses. Unless you're using free licenses, every single user in your environment has to be supported by a number of licenses. That's both licenses that you have to buy internally, and that's licenses that a company like us has to buy in order to support your users. So that's important. The second is complexity. The more complex your environment, the more complex your IT, the more it's going to cost. In two extremes, if all of your users are located in one location, with all standardized equipment running one or two off-the-shelf applications, you're going to be the easiest in the world to support, and we can figure that into the calculation on what it costs to support you. However, there are a lot of businesses that are spread out, maybe not even in an office. You might have applications that are in the cloud. You might have applications that are on-premise at your office locations. You might have more applications that might be reside in a data center like we have. And those applications may stand alone, or they all may integrate and talk to each other. The more complexity in that environment, the more it's going to cost to support those things, because there's more troubleshooting that goes into solving the problem when there's an issue. The more internet, or the more miles between you and them, and the more equipment between your users and your data can impact the cost as well. So that's something that needs looked at. The last thing that we look at is the skill set and, I hate to say it, but neediness of your users. We deal with some companies that are in very high billable hour environments, and the last thing that you want your employees to be doing is troubleshooting an IT problem, because to be honest, your employees might be able to bill more than what it's going to cost to have a company like us support it and fix it. And if that's the case, then we would consider that a needy user. And you can imagine those are in your professional fields, typically legal, typically doctors, physicians, people in finance. Those users, you don't necessarily want them solving and troubleshooting their own IT problems. So that's one component. The other component can just deal with how technical your staff is. If you have a very technical staff, a lot of times they'll self-service. They'll go out and Google, they'll go out and research their own issue, and they'll be able to fix some of the more typical problems. Or you could have another set of users that just aren't very technical, and they're going to rely on a company like us a lot more to fix those problems. And then the last is the type of support you require. So if you have an internal IT department and you're looking for a company like ours to come in and supplement them, where they're primary, they are accountable, and they are responsible, but then we have a tool set, or we do things that they just don't do, or you don't want to invest in, and we would be secondary support, that's going to be on the lower end of the scale, because we're not responsible for fixing everything. So that's on the lower end when we're doing supplemental IT support. And on the opposite end of the scale, it's when we're the IT department. So obviously we're going to be, that's the most expensive side on a dollar per user, because we are responsible and accountable for everything. And you're foregoing the expense of having internal IT people. With that, that is just a quick overview of what managed services cost in St. Louis. I know there's a range, but there are several things, as you're kind of handicapping it in that range, you can go through and kind of look and see where your company would fall. We would be happy to talk to you. If you want a second opinion, we'd be happy to do that as well. We're going to be putting out a lot of these videos to just really educate you on how it is we do what we do. I hope you find it informative. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.